Hello, everyone. All right. So, as you might have noticed, there's someone missing. He said that he might be late, but he's having problem with his internet at home. So, he might be late. He might not be there. We're not sure yet. Let's hope everything goes well. And actually, some of us are in a bit of a storm right now, so who knows? The stream might also get interrupted, or we might lose more players. The fun of live broadcasting. Right, there should be sound on the screen. So, me of course.
Yeah.
But if anyone else can talk, because my microphone is on something else. You should.
Yeah, I just heard Mike. I just heard Mike
Alright.
on the.
Yeah, we still have a bit of delay between what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, but I think it's going to be fine. If not, I'll try to find why next time. So, welcome to Dragon Memoria, everyone. For those joining us for the first time, greetings, and for those returning, well, welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you all with us. And for those wondering what this is about, well, it's about watching a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons, because, you might have just clicked on whatever was live, and it happens. I have a friend who did that once. So, because usually people are a bit tired at the end, I'm gonna start with the promotion first, and we're gonna keep on going straight. So, because, we're a small channel, and we all need a bit of promotion. So, if you missed a past episode, you can watch, you can catch up on YouTube. There's a link below for on the YouTube panel. Since this is a homebrewed world, if you are wondering about a bit of lore or rule you suspect might have been homebrewed, below you'll also find a link to my Patreon, where I post homebrewed changes and also past episode. And finally, if you want to support us, you can follow us on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and if you want to support us long term, you can support us financially by becoming a Patreon, making donation, and finally, if you just want to let us know that you enjoy this, you can always say hi in the chat. There's usually at least one of us looking in the chat. It's always a great moral support for us. And you can also simply spread the word of this channel, because the more people watch, the longer it will keep on going. And because I like playing Dungeons and Dragons, so I'd like to do this for a long time.
Already putting our druid to sleep.
Alright, now, on with the show. Last time, the party finally entered the burrow of goblins and did their best to survive this fight. In general, it wasn't all that hard. However, our druid did find itself tempted by a mysterious voice to let go of the balance she had been taught and let a different kind of power take over. And we also had our monk, who is presently absent. We're gonna just say that it is because the fight was just too traumatizing for him, because he basically ended the stream. Hey! He just woke up from the trauma of the last fight. So, during the last fight, our poor monk was for the first time taken to an inch of his life. Several times.
And he's gone again.
Well,
Sorry about that.
that's all right.
Still getting set up.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could join us.
Can you guys hear yourself? Just making sure.
Yes, we've verified. I can hear myself. I can
Yeah.
hear everyone.
Okay.
I think. Okay, I think he meant if you can hear ourselves from him.
Yeah.
And I can hear you. Well, right now I can't, but a few seconds.
Okay.
Now I can.
All right. Yeah. I was just adjusting it because I got this new camera and it has a mic in it, and yeah. Okay. Just making
That's
sure
all right.
everything is good.
And as our monk decided to crawl in a dark corner to cope with the fight, Valtteri, Trevor, and audience decided to play a football match to find who would have the right to have the last word on the orb which they were sent to destroy. Fortunately for audience, because it helped him to exercise some past frustration. Also, fortunately for Valtteri, because she's a druid and she likes helping nature. And unfortunately for Trevor, because he got tackled to the ground very severely. He was unable to save the orb, and audience was able to destroy the orb. Just as the orb was destroyed, the elemental suddenly peeled off the roof of the burrow, used vines and roots to attack the inside, killed every single goblin which sounded was inside this place. And this is where we all ended last episode.
I also have a note of what you told me last time, that I'm allowed to do a religion roll if
Yes.
the fallen the dude who tried talking to me has to do with the cult of the hunter.
Yes, you will. Unfortunately, right now it is sort of a bit tense situation. So technically, like I said, because in past versions, when you went up a level, you were able to retry things that you failed. Like a thief could try to open the lock again if he failed, or also you could try and remake rolls that you have failed to learn or remember things. So you will be able to do this. I decided that it was a relevant rule to keep from past edition. You will be able to do this, but only after you've had a rest, because technically, right now you're still level 2.
That's when you level up. Yeah.
Okay. No problem. Just to remind you.
Oh, I hadn't forgotten. Don't worry about it. All right, so as the dust from what the elemental just did settles, you can hear the elemental scream something at all of you. You see him looming above this new hole that is in burrow, and just says, "I can still feel the influence, the lingering influence of the orb inside the cave. Have you managed to secure the seedling?"
I look over to the acorn and point to it. Or no, wait, no, Toby had this. That'd be you, Toby. I forgot. I don't.
Can he see me from up above?
You don't think so, no.
All right. Well, since he's big and there's a hole in the top of the roof, I'll lift it up to see if he notices it. Just over my head.
Yep. From where you are, it doesn't seem like he can see you, because you did crawl inside a very dark corner of this place and were trying to cope with the trauma of all the blood and of having been... Sorry, I just...
Threw a dice on the floor.
Well, actually, something to put the dice on. And
Do I see?
well, of course, you can see it from where you are. It's just that from the layout of the cavern, Tobiashi did crawl into a very small corner, and just standing up and having the acorn in his hand doesn't seem to be enough. You would have to make a few steps inside the light.
Alright, I'll mutter to myself and walk a little bit closer to show him the thing, and then...
Alright, well, you can hear him say, "Ah, very good. Thank you. Because the lingering effect of the orb is still uncomfortable for me. I will wait for you at the exit. Or maybe from your side, it might be the entrance. Anyway, I will wait for you where you entered this burrow and retrieve the acorn once you are there."
Okay.
And
About
you
that
see
time.
him slowly leave.
About that time, since Val just got up off of Trevor from tackling him a minute ago, he'll get up, like brush himself off, and look at her and say, "Was that really necessary? I mean, with knowing of my past, I would expect more than those kind of juvenile antics and bully tactics. I dealt with enough of that shit back in the orphanage. I just asked not to destroy the orb right away, but you said you trusted me. I think you would have put enough trust for me just to see it for a few minutes,
I'm gonna walk right through them as they're having this discussion and go to the entrance.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Toby. I'm gonna leave them to do their thing.
As they're walking away, I'm like, just 30 minutes with it was all I would have asked. I probably could have learned more in that 30 minutes than all three of you combined, but no, you just had to destroy it. It just wanted a little bit of time. It was probably the one thing we had that might have given us an edge on this freaking cult, and you guys just destroyed it.
The only thing that orb would have gotten is full terror and whatever. So no thanks, and I'm also leaving.
I said, just continue.
Yeah,
I'll be there in a minute. I need some compensation. They have these freaking goblins have to have left something here. I need some compensation for this bullshit. He'll sit down and ritually cast a detect magic and just do an investigation of the room. Actually, do two. He'll search all of the freaking crates and stuff in the middle. Then he's going to go around the wall and see if there's any hidden nooks or pathways or anything in that main room there.
All right.
But ritually cast detect magic first, so if there's anything around,
Okay.
that
So you
might
start by ritually.
burrow in on.
All right. So while Trevor is making this ritual,
I just leave them go. I need a little alone time right now, anyway. So.
all right. So as Trevor started spouting by making this ritual cast, what does audience Valtteri and Tobiashi do? Tobiashi, I know you just said that you are just leaving.
Yeah, I just leave. I'll put the acorn by the entrance, and I go out into the open and kind of sit in the field that's in front of the entrance.
Right. What does Valtteri and audience do?
I'll just follow. I'm gonna follow Toby outside. I don't really care about compensation, and
All right.
I just kind of don't want to be I don't really want to be involved, whichever right now.
All right.
I left the
The one who destroyed the orb, he'll probably have
So
something.
you leave the acorn on the ground?
No, Tobiashi.
Yeah, I
took,
left
didn't you say that you
Oh.
took the acorn with you?
Yeah,
Well,
but
that-
just
acorn, but I left it once I got to the entrance, I left it on the ground and kind of went into the
All right.
the place.
Right now, you're not at the entrance yet. I'm just asking
Okay.
everyone what you're doing. So Tobiashi has already left. He's going toward the entrance. The audience a few steps behind him. And Valtteri, what are you doing?
Well, I'm also a few steps behind the audience.
All right, so all three of you are leaving. Tobiashi, because you have such a high passive perception, as you're leaving, you're noticing that in this little corridor that linked the two rooms together, on your right, the wall seems to have been severely damaged. Enough that you believe you can see there is probably a hidden corridor behind this damage. It was most likely left by the vines and root as they made their way through the corridor.
Okay. So like it's a passage.
Well, from your point of view right now, it looks like a severely damaged wall, but the way that it is cracked, the way that it seems to have been pushed inside, it feels like it was supposed to be a hidden door that was severely damaged by the root as they made their way through this corridor.
Okay, I'll stop for a second, thinking that another thing is going to attack us, and for a second, kind of like put my hand out in front of audience and say, there might be another thing behind there, and I'll point to where I seen the broken wall.
All right.
Audience, we only got about this much of your face on screen right now, too.
Really? Okay,
Yeah.
I can
Looks
set
like
up.
you're sinking slowly, you know.
Yeah, like quicksand. Just
All right, I guess I'll go investigate. Would that be an investigate?
Well, yeah, you can investigate, and I'll also give you advantage because Tobiashi is really pointing you directly toward between where and where this broken wall could be.
I'll stand there next to Toby and just watch audience investigating.
Okay, that would be... Okay.
I put my hand on my sword on my back.
That's going to be a 18. Oh, wait, with advantage. That's going to be a nat 20. So that's going to be a crit.
Yeah, you easily
That's-
funny. You see Tobiashi's. You know there's sort of a crack in the wall, and immediately you sort of see it. You don't just see the crack on the wall. Suddenly, all of the outline of this secret door pops up in front of you. Why didn't I see this before? It's so obvious.
Okay. I guess I'll open it.
You push. It is very easy to push. You would estimate it was made for goblins to be able to push it. So it easily opens, and it opens in with a small corridor that maybe 5 or 10 feet long. It is very dimly lit, but you can see that it opens into a very large room.
Okay.
Should we tell Trevor before we go any further?
You can
Probably.
You can hear him let's say, mumbling arcane words inside the other room. You've heard him often do this, so you could easily deduce that he is ritually casting something right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll walk back over to where he's sitting, and I'll yell into the room, we found something else out here. When you're done with that, just come and meet us. Kind of in a shaky voice, and then I'll continue to go down the hallway.
All right. So, Trevor, you heard it, but if you respond to this, you're going to break your... All right.
Yep, I'll just keep on going.
All right.
I'll go inside.
Yeah, I go back to where they're at and
All right.
follow someone.
So, Valtteri, you go inside this room, and because of your dark vision, you can actually see better than everyone else. As you enter, it is a room that is of a fairly similar size to those that you just came from. However, you can see in the back of the room, it was most likely where the goblins stored everything that they stole from caravans and people walking in the roads, because you see Broken vases. You see broken crates. Food spilling on the floor. From where you are, you can't really tell of the quality of it, but there's food. There's most likely a variety of wares that you can identify. Probably bolts of cloth, maybe metals, and what looks like broken jars. Probably food or other valuable liquids or things that needs to be stored in jars. The room is filled with this, and it hits you when you look at this. This is probably where the goblins took all of the broken barrels and crates that they used to make their barricade.
Okay. I'll shout back out to audience and Toby. Hey guys, it's safe in here. It's just the loot the goblins took from like their from crates and stuff they were stealing.
Okay.
Okay. So it's loot.
Well, if you see that food is loot, then yeah.
Loot-ish, how well of loot was just yet to be determined.
It's goblin loot.
Well, I mean,
Scavengers. There might be some good stuff in there. Most likely not.
I guess I'll go in and investigate.
Me too. Yeah, I will go through
Right.
the stuff.
Tobiashi, what do you do?
Yeah, I'll follow behind them
Right.
and just look around.
So you
Not
enter.
paying attention, just watching.
So you enter this room. Like I said, it's dimly lit, so it's not easy to see. Valtteri, it's very easy for you to see what's in there because of your dark vision. Of course, dark vision doesn't allow you to see in color. So
Black and white.
Yeah. But still, it's still a lot better than not seeing anything. So as you make your way in, it is lit by a very faint glowing stone at the center of the room. It really emits an extremely dim light. Everywhere around the edge of this place, you can see broken crates and barrels, and there are a lot of food. So you can find fruits, vegetables. A lot of it is past its date. As you get closer, you sort of smell the rotting vegetables and, well, rotting a lot of things. But mixed with that, it becomes clear that they mostly raided caravans which were small, because there's not something extremely valuable. You don't find jewels or anything. You do find a little bit of gold. So you do find a few pouches that has... Wrong side. That have a little bit of gold inside. A few bags that are mostly empties also. You find bolts of silk. Cloth material. So some of it feels like silk. However, it is not in a good condition. It feels like the goblin really didn't pay much attention to it, didn't believe that it was very valuable, so they just stole it, stored it. A lot of it is damaged. You find a few minerals, looks like iron, ingots of those, and a bit of raw ore. You find a small cache of weapon, short swords, leather armor, a few shields. There is, however, also a something that feels a bit more like a drawer at the complete end of this place. There, it is a desk. For Valtteri, it would be hips height. You can see that it can open on the top of it, but there's also a few drawers on each side. but there is some sort of a not dome shape, but curved shape on top of it, which could be just pulled, and it will recede and show what's inside. It does appear to be locked.
I'm scared that it's a trap.
So,
Audience and Tobiashi, if you are also looking inside, you will come to the same conclusion, but it will take maybe 5 or 10 more minutes than it would Valtteri, because she can actually see well in there. But you will come to the same conclusion and in front of the same material.
okay. I'll take the wraps. Might as well. And does anybody? I'll look to everybody else and be like, does anybody else want to open this box?
It's not a box, it's a shelf.
Well, shelf box, yeah.
I mean,
Trevor ain't there yet, so he can't say anything. So,
well, by the time that they would finish looking at all of this, Trevor, you would most likely finish your rituals casting of detect magic.
all right. I'll just take a quick walk around the room to see if anything gives me a quick glowing aura, and then I'll head to the other room.
Well,
Search anything yet.
the shards of the orb are still lingering magic. However, you can see by with experience and just by looking at it that this aura is slowly disappearing. It's dying out.
Well,
You
this will probably be the only information I can gather from this. Do I get what kind of magic it is emanating at the moment? School, I mean.
yeah.
If you want to get back to me on it, it's fine.
No. I'm hesitating between two schools. So I'll say mainly divination. The foul kind of divination.
Okay. See, can I tell how fast it seems to be dissipating? Do I have any idea how long it might be before it's like completely on?
Very quickly, you'd say that maybe within another 20 to 30 minutes, there won't be any significant trace of magic left in it.
That's good enough. I'm going to pick up a couple of the shards and stuff them in my bag for a minute, and I'll carry them with me.
Your detect magic also detect 4 more of these daggers that you found that drink blood.
I'm not really worried about them. We got 4 of them already, so I'll keep it in mind to tell them if we want to collect them to sell, possibly. But for now, I'm just going to leave them in there and head to the other room.
For everything else, you detect a residual magic from the blood that was inside the bowl. But again, it's not from a school, and it is extremely foul.
Yeah.
For everything else, no, you don't detect anything else magical in this room.
Okay. Well, he'll walk out of that room into the other room. I'm assuming see the hole in the wall, and probably hear them talking down there in that room or whatever,
and looking through things, stumbling on things because they don't see all that well, and yeah.
And as soon as he walks in where he can see something, he'll cast light on something to illuminate the room there.
Yeah, like I said, there is this small source of light at the center. It looks like a small rock, probably a weaker version of a light spell cast by one of the goblins. But of course, when you cast it on it, it becomes a whole lot brighter and you can actually see everything around you.
I'll just walk in. Is there anything interesting in here?
Hey audience, can you come here and help me open this?
Yes, I absolutely can.
I'll look over to Trevor and say, not that
I'll walk over.
As I put the silk or the ribbon into my backpack.
So at first glance, Trevor, what you see is like I described. There's a lot of rotten food. Some of it is still good, but most of it is rotten. You can see bolts of cloth, a few ingots of different material, Most of it is probably iron. A few bags. Some of them have been spilled over as they were watching and as they were searching, and some of it had a little bit of money in it. There doesn't seem to be any gems. And some of the containers, however, you can actually see inside. Now that there is light and that they opened everything they could. It looks like spices.
Alright. Anything given off a magical aura around me besides
Yes,
the
because
light?
it lasts long enough. Yes, there is something extremely magical inside the drawer, inside the desk that they're all looking at. The emanation of magic comes from inside of it.
Do I detect what school by chance, or
No, and
As far
it is very odd. It overwhelms your senses when you try and figure out what it is. It's like trying to look at the sun.
I'll say, well, there's definitely something interesting in that desk there. If you guys want to go ahead and open it, hopefully it's not trapped. I could check it.
Audience, would you have waited until Trevor has said that before trying to open it, or you would have went...
Absolutely not.
All right, then.
I would have asked for...
How are you planning
I
on
imagine I'll
opening
probably be saying that about the time he's opening it up there.
this? Depends
I
on
mean,
how he plans
so
on
the
doing
desk,
this.
does it have like a drawer? Like a drawer?
There
Or
are
did I just-
several drawers on the side, but the thing that seems to be locked is sort of a cover which can be pulled. It's sort of it is a bit it has a curve, so you can just
Okay.
pull it and it will open, just like these writing desk. They're
Okay,
sort of a
yeah.
Yeah,
I
the-
just
the
probably
roll
try
up.
and I just probably try and yank it open then.
then it would be a strength check.
Yeah.
Trevor's keeping his distance. He was yelling at across the room. So.
It's actually not that great. That is only a 12.
Only a 12. Well, it is enough. It takes you a while, and Trevor actually finishes saying what he was saying as you were just yanking on it and hitting it a little bit. And just as you're wondering, well, maybe this is better luck than I expected, you manage to... finally, the lock just broke. It wasn't a very strong lock, but, you know... It's made for goblins and by goblins, so it really wasn't a very high DC. So you easily managed to open it, and inside you see two things. First, there is a small block of what looks like stone. On it, there is the depiction of probably what you would assume is the emblem of the hunter god. You see, however, something else under the stone. It looks like a piece of cloth which has been folded. So you can't figure out if there is anything on it, as it is very well folded and placed under this. However, the way it is placed does feel like it was not placed there by the goblins. It is too tidy for them.
I carefully take the items, both items out.
How do you take them out?
Do I have gloves? Wait, let me check.
Can I ask
Probably
you a question?
not.
Alright,
Uh,
audience, this is what you see, and you see Valtteri reaching out toward them. Do you stop her, or do you try to beat her to it? You just let her do it?
I'll pull out the thing but she can pull out anything else.
Alright. So Valtteri,
So we-
as you are slowly reaching out to the stone, you see audience just take the cloth under the stone and yank it out. You know, like those people trying to yank a cloth up from under a vase without making anything move. Do you let him do this?
Yeah, sure, but I look at him and say, maybe we should have taken it out carefully. It could have, like...
And it is too late.
triggered.
He already has it in his hand.
I know, like, it could have triggered some things, so next time maybe we take it out carefully. And I take the stone, I guess.
Alright. So, Valtteri, you take the stone, and the stone seems to be very normal. Trevor, you are... how long does detect magic last?
10 minutes.
10 minutes? Alright, you are at the last few moments of your detect magic. As she takes it, you can see that there is a faint trace of magic on it. Divination, for sure.
Okay.
But it is very faint. It is not supposed to be a very strong magical object. However, the cloth that Audience has in his hand, which is currently folded, very similar to how they fold the flag in America when someone dies, someone important dies. It is folded like this, and you have it in your hand. It is a white cloth, but you cannot make out what is on it because it is completely folded. But from what you have in your hand, you can make out that there is probably a pattern on it, something sewn or part of this cloth, if you completely unfold it. Trevor, you do see that the magic that you are seeing, that you are trying to perceive, comes from that cloth. But it is unknown to you. You have no clue what this sort of magic is. You can't even remember a moment where in your studies you saw a magic similar to that.
I look to Audience and ask, maybe open it.
Okay.
Maybe
I will
There's
open it.
keeping his distance and
Tackle the
keeping
field.
his mouth shut with a little smirk on his face while they're just rummaging through this shit here.
Alright.
I'll
Tobias.
open it.
I'll look over to Trevor and be like, well, do you want to take this acorn to the entrance while they're doing this?
Alright, so as you say this, you watch Audience unfold this piece of cloth. And the moment he unfolds it, you are all overwhelmed by this sickening feeling. Your stomach seems to just drop inside of you, and it's sort of like hearing this faint hissing in your head, in your ears, from time to time. We don't know exactly what triggers it, and the air around in this room seems to become foul, and it feels like someone just walked over your grave. You watch this huge piece of cloth with a symbol on it, but none of you is able to say what the shape of this is. You keep looking at it and you're just trying to say what shape it is, but it just won't come out. And you all feel this rush of adrenaline inside of you, which most of you by now have easily identified as the feeling of flight or fight. And you also feel this need that pushes the feeling of flight and chooses fight. Each one of you is briefly taken back to a moment in your life. Valtteri, you are taken back to a moment when you were with your father and you were tracking a beast that had been injured, most likely by poachers. And you actually did manage to find it. However, it was being poached. And your father decided to give an ultimatum to the poachers, and they refused it. They all drew their weapons, and you remember clearly your father saying, "Some of them can't be redeemed." And you remember seeing him take a weapon, and that was the first time you voluntarily chose to take up arms against someone. Tobiashi, you're taken back to a moment where you were walking in a street with your master. And you were going around a corner, and suddenly you found yourself in front of 5 or 6 thugs, and they all gave you an ultimatum to just leave and give them everything you had or die. And that was the first time you saw your master fight without holding back his martial prowess. And when the fight was finished, you heard him say, "Most do not want to die. Many do not deserve to live. A few of them should not live." Trevor, you're taking back to a moment of your life when you were walking with Wu. The memory is a bit fuzzy, but most of your memory are. You were just walking outside of an inn, and you turned the corner, and suddenly Wu stopped and told you to take the dagger he'd just drawn and prepare yourself. You were surprised by this, and you looked around and you noticed that you'd just been bottled inside an alley, and you heard him say, "Most of them will accept compensation, but some just want revenge." And you remember having beaten them in a contest inside the inn, and that was the first time that you remember consciously choosing to take up the dagger and fight alongside Wu. Audience, you're taking back to a memory from, well, what for Dragonborn would be called childhood. You are inside of your clan, inside of the village of your clan, and you are woken up by someone screaming, "To arms! To arms!" That was the first time you remember hearing that call in your village. And as you made your way out of this hut you were staying in, you realized the hut was being attacked by a band of orcish raiders. That was the first time that you answered the instinctive call of the Dragonborn to defend your clan at all cost. And you are all taken back into this room where you are right now, looking at this cloth that you can't make out, that it's making you feel sick and aggressive, and you can all hear yourself say at the same time, "This shouldn't be." And you all have free action again. End of the cutscene. Go.
End of cutscene.
Well, I guess they already got it out. I guess we can leave that to the magic experts over there to decide what to do with it.
Burn it.
Can I grab it?
Right now, audience has it in his hand. You can, but audience will...
You could try and grab it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
So what are you doing?
Trevor's gonna turn around and just start walking out towards the entrance. Well, he's like, "I had enough."
Oh no! If you resist, then I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll just try to. I'll ask him. Can I see this?
I'll hand it to Toby. I'll let Toby take it from my hand. I'm still kind of like a little in shock. Like I'm not that used to magic items.
I have a question. So can you repeat what he said to me?
Who?
My master in the cutscene.
Most of them do not want to die. Some of them deserve to die, and some of them should not live.
Okay, that's all I needed. All right.
Make it a
I'm going to. What happens when I fold it back up?
the feeling stays. Now that you've seen it, now that you know that it is there, the feeling just doesn't leave. This shouldn't be.
Burn it.
And you're still stuck with the same problem. Your mind is trying to tell you what is drawn on this, but you just can't get the words out. Even your mind.
I'm gonna actually open the side compartments, the drawers on the other part of the dresser, to see if they give any clues to it.
Clues.
Because we haven't opened the drawers yet.
You find material component which would be relevant for a priest. So definitely not something that would be relevant for a goblins.
Like what type of?
Usually used for spell casting. Different kinds of raw metal. You can see very small portions of different kinds of liquids. One of them seems clear. One of them has a faint, darker color. So it's most likely a different kind of liquids used for spells. You remember seeing mages, and even Valtteri and Trevor, they use holy symbols and arcane focus, but sometimes they actually have to take out material component. So this really feels like that. Most of them are not pricey. Some of them you might be able to sell for a bit of money. There is something that looks like a bit, sort of like a spoon. One of them looks like a copper wire. There is also something that looks like a coin made out of... What?
Sorry.
A coin made out of probably a material like tin or something like that. There's also a few pieces of cloth, parchment. One of this feels like leather, but there's some faint rune inscribed on it. So again, probably things used as material component. Right now, because you're not a priest, a wizard, or a druid, so you can't really identify which component could be used for what. But even Valtteri, you're rather close to this. You could see this. You're really not high level enough to recognize, oh, this is used for that spell. But more so than audience, it is easy for you to recognize those are spell components.
Okay. I will tell audience that. Sorry.
Oh no, you got it. So this blanket, this cloth, makes me okay. So it makes me want to attack, or does it make me want to attack it?
It makes you want to destroy it.
So we shouldn't destroy it.
This is something. All right, Tobiashi, I will allow you to make a wisdom check.
Okay.
And for the record, like I said, Trevor turned around. He walked out to the entrance. What he's going to do, he's just going to sit down, lay the pieces of the orb out, and start ritually casting Identify on them to see if he can get anything from it before the magic fades or whatever. So
all right,
he's leaving them to what they're doing.
So it was wisdom?
Yes.
Okay, let me go to... Oh, wait, what? Okay. Alright. 14.
14. The with modifiers?
Right. Yeah, plus
all
2.
Right. With that, I'd say you recognize, because you're used to separating yourself from what you need and what you want. you easily recognize that this feeling that you have is not something that you want. It is something that you need. It is a need that has just emerged from within you to destroy it. It feels like part of you.
Well, if you guys will follow me, I think we can destroy this outside better than in here.
Can I take the items first that are used for spellcasting?
Yeah.
Unless audience wants them.
No, you can take them.
Right.
For now, I'm gonna fold up the cloth and I'm just gonna hold it kind of like this and walk out of the hut. No, not hut.
Of this
cave,
burrow, yes.
The burrow.
I am going to tell Obayashi before we destroy it, we should maybe show it to the elemental. Maybe he'll know something about it.
Maybe, I don't know, I really want to destroy this thing, but I feel like there could be some use of it. And then I'll say, let's talk to Trevor about it. He knows more about this magic stuff than we do.
I'll nod.
Go out there. I still have the acorn, right?
Yes, unless you gave it to someone else, you still do.
No, yeah. So I have the acorn on top of the cloth, and I'm kind of like holding it like a baby.
You're all right.
What are the different magical items I get, or magical the items I need?
For brevity's sake, I will say, you can mark it as a component pouch.
Component pouch.
It is actually an object from the NDB from the player's handbook.
Yeah, I just wrote it down so I won't strip if I forget the name.
Good for sorcerers or wizards, primarily.
It's. I think it's good for anyone using material component.
The item's name is the Babble Cloth.
No, actually, you can't identify what the name of this cloth is. All right.
Trevor might be able.
So, audience and Valtteri. Valtteri, you empty the content of this, and audience, do you do anything else? Do you want to take anything?
No, I'm just going to follow Tobiyashi out.
Okay.
Then I followed them back.
Oh, I mean, I'll pick up some of the spilled money. No one else picked up the spilled money.
I mean, I thought we already picked it up and shared it. I was like, how much? Nobody
asked me how many gold were in there, so.
Yeah, well, I guess I'll pick it all up.
Yeah.
No one else
everyone gets distracted by their thing, and you're left inside this room. Hey, nobody took the gold. All right, it's mine then.
Well, I took the gold.
Oh, you can mark in your inventory 120 gold.
Oh, cool.
Sorry, that's copper. 74 silver and 210 copper.
So I just watch him because I'm still in the back and taking the gold.
You're taking this and you're realizing that, hey, he just took the bags of gold.
Trevor's already outside at this point.
Yeah.
And why wouldn't I? No one else did.
Valtteri was claiming everything in the desk, so.
Yeah.
All I took was some cloth and the other cloth.
Yeah.
Kitty. I'm like, everyone took apparently what they wanted. Trevor left with nothing. Toby took cloth. Val's over there. I'm like, all right, I'll take the money.
All right. So.
I mean, there also would have been shields and stuff. Maybe you could have found a better shield or something.
They're goblin equipment. If you look at the goblin inventory, they have leather armor, scimitars, shield, and short bows. So
Also, I already bought the upgraded shield. The shield that was slightly upgraded.
Plus
Not
two
actually an upgraded. No, it's not a +1 or anything. It's just like a shield, but it can take magic, so it's better than my shield.
Yeah, it was like Mastercraft or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Mastercraft shield.
Okay.
So I would have a pretty good shield.
So yes, of course, there. Like I said, there are leather armors, scimitars, a bunch of daggers, a few short bows, a bunch of arrows for the short bows, shield, and a pot filled with poo. They have to go somewhere, you know.
Wow. Take it.
Well, I'll leave.
All right, so you all leave the burrow, each with something in your hand. Audience with a large smile on his hand, with a sack that jingles. Valtteri with a bag that doesn't jingles, but seems to be very filled for spellcasting. So also, Valtteri, you can... bags like this can be used as material component. So basically right now, you have two possibilities for casting spells which require material component. So if you lose one, you have another one right now. And
Nice.
Tobiashi with an acorn and a cloth which makes everyone sick.
And want to destroy it.
And you want, not only you, everyone feels this urge, this calling to destroy that thing. Underlined by this dream that you all had that actually only took half a second to have. It was really just a memory that just... and that's it. So, you all reach the exit of the burrow. You find Trevor ritually casting over a pile of broken glass shard. You find the elemental, which is maybe 5 or 6 steps away from Trevor. Trevor, as you got out, you even found yourself inside the elemental, but as you described, you just put everything on the floor and start ritually casting. But as you put all of these shards in front of you, you did see the elemental take 1 or 2 steps back. Do you react to this, or do you just keep going?
Just keep going.
So, you all exit the burrow, finding Trevor ritually casting something above this pile of broken glass, and the elemental, which is, from your point, maybe 5 or 6 of his step away.
Okay.
I'll walk up to the elemental with the acorn, and I'll say, I think this belongs to you, and I'll hand it to him with the cloth in my other hand.
Alright, immediately he takes the acorn and looks at you, and it's a bit hard to really see because you've never actually had to distinguish the emotional state of a tree before, but it does feel like he is showing gratitude in his facial feature, as best a tree can express gratitude. And he immediately takes it from your hands and says, "Oh, thank you. Thank you so very much."
Mm-hmm.
This takes a lot of pressure, a lot of stress away from me. I cannot express my gratitude in a way that you can understand it. Thank you so very much. And he looks at all of you as you're doing this, but strangely enough, he just glances by Trevor when he looks at everyone.
Trevor's not acknowledging it anyway. He's busy doing his ritual cast, so yeah, he doesn't even acknowledge it.
I'm gonna call it to Toby. Show him the cloth. See if it.
That's
see
what I was.
if it-
And I was gonna say there might be one thing that you could help us all with, and then I'll like unfold the cloth and kind of like hold it in front of my face.
He looks at the cloth and he says, well, it is a very strange cloth. But why are you showing me a white cloth?
He's immune.
I'll say you don't see the symbol on it, and I'll kind of like point to the symbol and show him, trying to convince him that there's something on there.
You're trying to convince him?
Well, no, like just trying to like see if he sees it actually, or doesn't. Yeah.
All right, make a persuasion roll.
Here's my persuasion. A +0. Let's do this. That's a 3.
A 3. Well, I'd say you're showing him this cloth, and he looks at you, and you can he noticed that you're really trying. So he looks at it and says, it is a very interesting... And he looks at Valtteri and audience at the same time. Pattern?
Trevor's actually, he's not out with him. Since he's here, just while he's doing it, though.
Your microphone keeps cutting. I could barely hear what you said.
Oh. Say that.
Right now I can't hear a thing.
No, we can't hear you anymore.
Yeah.
Can't hear me at all?
Yes, now
No,
yes.
No, we can.
Okay, alright. Anyway, I know I said Trevor's ritually casting, but could he hear what was going on between Toby and the tree there,
Yeah,
at least?
yeah, they're
Or
not
he's done?
They're not
okay.
whispering.
Alright. Okay. That's all I wanted.
I tried to explain the elemental what happened inside the cave when we opened the cloth.
Well, since he doesn't know anything, I'm gonna hold it up.
I mean,
and
it
figure
looks
that-
clear that he's immune. It doesn't mean that he doesn't know it.
Hey, I'll go up to Val and I'll say, what if you try to redraw this? And I'll show her the symbol.
Can I?
You can't, because you're not able to identify the shape. You just you take your quill, you take a parchment, and you're just stuck there, and you're looking at this shape, and your mind refuses to give you a shape to draw. You know it's there, but you just can't bring yourself to place something on the parchment piece.
Maybe we should ask him if he could destroy it for us.
But should we destroy it?
I don't know. I was thinking about.
You can all still feel this sickening feeling, this urge that is telling you that this is something you need to destroy.
It's all my instincts are telling me to destroy it, but for some reason I would just kind of look at all of them like I don't
Hesitating.
know. Yeah.
Let's decide on this in the morning.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting night. All right, so
I'll put it.
We should destroy it.
I'll neatly fold it up into my and I'll put it into my sling bag.
all right. So Trevor, as all this ends, you finish casting your identify spell. And so you're trying to cast this on an object which is...
There is something I can do.
Slowly losing its strength. So no names comes from what the orb is. It is not a known magical object, something that is industrially made. I don't know.
Mass produced.
Yeah, that's it. Mass produced. But what you get from this identified spell is that it was meant to be a two-way communication device, which also means that some level of magic could be sent or received through it.
At about that time, I guess once he finishes and gets what he said, I'm like, talk to anybody?
Wait, what? Yeah.
Well, I identified this orb to see what I could salvage out of this disaster of destroying it. And it's a two-way communication device. So did it communicate with any of you? I know it didn't me.
I mean, I couldn't talk to it. I didn't hear anything.
I just shake my head.
Blood in my face.
I'm just standing there perplexed, remembering of that dude.
The voice?
I'm kind of standing next to Trevor. He sees me put the cloth in my bag.
I'm not giving a reaction. I'm just now kind of in a state of shock, remembering of that being trying to convince me.
Are you trying to hide this, or are you just...
No.
No?
I was going to say,
I'm
just the fact that he doesn't answer, I think, would be enough of an answer for Trevor there.
So, yes, I just want to see, what is your passive insight, Trevor?
Insight, 15.
15.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say with this passive insight of 18, you would notice that...
15.
15.
15.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I thought
You said 80.
Yeah,
you
sorry,
said
I realized I said 18, but I meant 15.
Right.
So, with
You're
a
back.
passive insight of 15, you know Valtteri enough to realize that something's bothering her with this. But she's not trying to draw attention to this.
All right. Well, I won't push anything right this moment with her, but I'll...
Good idea.
Well, yeah, I know we got other shit pressing right now, but he'll pack up the orb and put it back in his bag. You know, he'll see if he could...
The shards of the orb?
Yeah, was there any... Well, since I know this is pretty much all I'm going to get out of it, the only other thing he would look at is a couple of the pieces to see if there was any kind of etchings of any kind of runes or anything on it, or was it just a smooth glass orb?
It was most likely a very smooth orb. However, inside you do see that there were small fragments of a black material, as if someone had sprinkled pepper in it while they were blowing this glass ball.
Alright. Well, you'll just keep a piece that has some of that on it, just one piece, to try and see if you can figure out what might that have been later on, and then just discard the rest.
Alright.
And leave it at that. And it's like the deal with that. Did the magic experts figure it out?
I'm gonna actually cast Divine Sense, which I keep forgetting I have, which I can detect as an action. You can detect good and evil until the end of your next turn. You can sense anything affected by the house spell or another location of a celestial fiend, undead within 60 feet that's not behind total cover. So I was gonna cast that on the cloth to see if I could detect good or evil from which might be outside of the feeling we're getting.
In my bag. Also, I went to go talk to the tree elemental.
Divine sense. All right. And actually, you can detect good or evil. Next. All right. Okay. So, casting Divine Sense. Yeah, alright. You cast Divine Sense. You let this energy from your deity flow into you and just reach out around you. And you... Well, first off, you feel those around you who have a good alignment. So I believe that is Trevor and Tobiyashi. I believe you have the good alignment. So you can sense
good. Yeah.
you can sense the goodness inside of them. From Valtteri, you feel a sense of neutrality.
Okay.
Nice.
So
Little bit of
an
shock
absence
there
of
that it's not the other way with Trevor and Valtteri.
He doesn't perceive as being a good person, but whatever. All right.
So you have a confirmation from your god that deep down Trevor's a good guy. Deep down.
Good to know, I
Deep
guess.
in the pits of hell.
It's buried down there somewhere, but it's there.
I think I'm chaotic good. Something
Well
like
then
that.
you're good. So audience does feel the goodness coming from you. From the cloth, it is a very mixed feeling as again there is this sense of impossible to name that does overwhelm you initially, but as this feeling keeps lingering, you start feeling this sensation that you associate with feeling something evil. And the more you get used to the strange and awkward feeling you have around this, the more this evil feelings expands and expands and expands.
Okay. Alright, I'm all for destroying it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I went to go talk to the tree elemental.
Yep.
The cloth is in my bag right now, so okay.
All right.
I go talk to the tree elemental. I'm like, there might be something you might be able to help us out with. Actually, we've kind of been sleeping outside for I don't know how long, and I was wondering if you could make us a house out of your trees.
Make
A treehouse.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's an elemental. He controls the trees.
I love the fact that you said that we've been sleeping outside for so long, which is not really true.
Have we even slept outside more than a night?
No,
What?
you did spend the whole night out, but
Trevor, putting the cloth up or whatever. I was gonna say, if you want, if we're gonna be here for a few minutes, I can try to identify it to see if we can at least learn a little bit more about it before you destroy it. It might be, but that don't necessarily mean we couldn't use it to our advantage some way.
I am gonna mention that I just divine sensed it, and that it definitely radiates a very evil aura, like behind the.
The paladin has spoken. We shall destroy it.
Wait, I'm talking to the tree right now, so I don't hear this. Yeah.
so the tree looks. Well, yes. I can probably make you a hut with vines, but wouldn't you all be more comfortable inside the village over there? And he points toward the
I
village
mean,
window.
yeah, but then we could come back. We could come back to this hut whenever we need to, and it should be right here.
Yeah, we're
It's a
leaving.
favor to us for helping you.
Trevor was speaking like leaving ASAP and going to skip every village if we can help it at this point.
But we always need a safe house, don't we, Trevor?
Trevor will take wine and take a few drinks.
All right.
Where are
We
you
don't
getting the
For him
drinks?
making it, we just need to know where it's at.
The wine in his bag.
Yeah, he has one bottle
Yeah, that
of
wine
aged
bottle
wine.
from back in the village that he got.
But he's taking so many
Still
swigs that he's
have-
probably halfway through it by now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got pretty annoyed back there, so I imagine he's probably gone through a bit of it. At
All
this
right.
point.
So the elemental thinks for a moment, and he says, "Well, I cannot build you something that you would find comfortable. But if you want to, you can always come back to this forest, and you will always be welcomed here.
I'll take that.
I can also give you a small token of my appreciation. And
Say compensation? I'll take it.
Yeah, I wasn't really asking for any compensation, but if you would like to,
You would like it.
he reaches to to his other hand, puts the acorn away, reaches to his other hand, and you just see him make a hand gesture, and you see in another acorn, very small, this one, the size of a normal acorn, just materialize from the palm of his hand, and slowly... Audience, your camera keeps trembling.
Earthquake.
You're
Feel
either
the energy.
laughing very hard, or your camera isn't on a solid surface.
I mean, it looks clearly he's laying in bed, so take a guess.
Yeah.
So you see this acorn literally grow from the palm of his hand, and he gently break it off, and he gives it to you. This acorn doesn't. He gives it to Tobiyashi because he was the one talking to him. So Tobiyashi, he gives you this little acorn. Right off the bat, it is practically weightless, and the color seems to be brighter than they should be. It doesn't emit light, but it is of a lighter color. And he says, should you need help, you can always plant this acorn, and I will try and come at your aid. If I cannot, I will send one of my children to help you. Do not forget to collect the acorn it will give you when leaving. Otherwise, you will not be able to call another one.
Oh, so it's multiple use.
I like this.
Okay.
Me
Thank
too.
you so very much. I'll bow to him, and I'll turn around and show the rest of the group what I found, and ask if anybody wants to hold it, like if anybody wants to have it, or if I can. I just want to make sure, because I think the magic use would be a better a better use for it.
I can take care of it if you want.
Anybody else say anything? No.
I don't have.
Oh, just no. I don't balance it. That's the way I give it to the druid.
Okay, I'll go to Val and say I trust you with this, and I'll hand it to her.
All right. I will create the object in D&D Beyond, but for right now, I doubt very much you will use it today. But
no.
if you do, or just if you want to keep it in your notes, just to not forget it.
Yeah, I put it in
It
my
is
house.
a magical acorn, which can summon either this elemental, which you have still not asked him his name, so I can't give you it, or you can, or one of his children.
Hint.
Oh yeah, and I'll ask him his name after he gives me the acorn. But why not?
Yeah, hint.
Yeah, because I'm tired of calling him the the tree elemental.
Elemental.
So his name, he tells you that his name is Torounai.
Spelling?
Touronhayy.
H-A-Y. Okay.
All right, that is not how I spelled it the first time.
No, it is very similar to the name of the wood.
Oh yeah, they said that the name of the woods was similar to his
Torounai
name.
Wood.
Torounai Wood.
Just write it out phonetically so that way I know I pronounce it right. It should be spelled.
Well, yeah, the name of the wood is the Torounai Wood, and the name of the elemental is the Torounai.
Torounai.
So the forest was probably named after him. The name was probably twisted over the centuries, but most likely.
Kind of sounds like a Pokemon. Torounai.
I have one question for the DM.
Yes.
So I was looking at the silk thing, and does it cost 1 key to make them come out? Because it doesn't say.
No. To make them come out, you don't have to pay anything. I believe, if I remember what I wrote correctly, is if they ever get severed, you need to pay to maintain them.
Oh, okay. All right.
But don't
Just a free
I
act.
can't I use my mending on his if they get this?
Well, Tobiashi was talking about a feature of his class.
Okay.
For your question, no. Tobiashi took a few bolts of silk inside. Yes, mending could repair some of the damage on it, but probably not all, because, like I said, the goblin really didn't get what value this could have, so they didn't store it properly. They just took it, shoved it in, and it's loot. So it would repair some of the damage, and if you were to try and sell it, it will probably sell at a better price than if you tried and sell it right now.
I really love your shirt. Just gonna say, Trevor's.
Oh, the Captain Spaulding? Yeah.
Yes.
Horror, big time horror fan, so yeah.
Okay. That's really nice.
Captain Spaulding for president.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Should we head on out, guys? Or
I'm still for that we should destroy that cloth.
I am also now for that we should destroy the cloth.
Well, I think we should give it a day. And tomorrow, if we still have the same feeling, we should destroy it.
audience did share with
If we-
everyone that he does feel a great sense of evil coming from the cloth.
I don't think we should keep it that long.
I mean, we could use it for a distraction of sort, maybe. Or,
Like edify it, see if there's a better potential use for it other than just wanting to destroy it.
I mean,
You
just
can
'cause
always use evil against evil.
yeah,
so.
just because something's evil doesn't mean we can't use it.
I want to remember you guys that we all have the need of this wanting to be gone.
Yeah,
so.
I do have
Just
this
saying.
to destroy it, but
Yeah,
All right.
I feel it too. I at least want to try and learn a little bit about it.
so we'll let Trevor do this one thing, and after that, if he says anything bad about it, we'll destroy it.
Okay.
Well, then he will extra say that it's not bad.
No, 'cause he
I
is.
give it to Trevor.
Alright.
All right. So the elemental thanks you, and he asks you if you need anything else right now, because otherwise he has to return the acorn to this small sanctuary that the goblin took it from.
Could you give us a quick ride to the town?
Yes, that is possible. And
He's got a much bigger stride than we do.
We'll detect this cloth over in the town.
well, actually, what
Yeah.
he does. All right. What he what he does is he simply takes a few steps toward a tree. He touches it, and tells you all that you can use this tree to go as far as the edge of the forest. You can go through it.
Which I think that put us like 10 or 15 minutes back to the village or whatever.
Yeah.
Judging from
An
now,
hour.
yeah,
I think it was an hour.
it's an hour of walk
Oh,
from the
okay.
edge of the forest back to the town. But
That's
So-
still pretty good.
So did
That's
it
why
open
I
up?
well, basically what he
Did it
did
open up
is
like-
cast Tree Stride on a tree.
Okay. So it's going to run us over there.
Yeah, you're going to enter the tree and you're going to exit a tree near the edge of the forest.
Oh, I like that.
You basically teleport through
Yeah,
trees.
It's like
because
an
for him
but
it's
with
a passive ability. It has a greater range than the actual spell.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can use this
I'm
tree,
still
and the tree is going. The tree is going to remain active like this for an hour.
Okay.
Well, in that case, I mean,
Maybe we should do the cloth here, not closer to the village.
Yes.
Very well. So, the tree gives you a... Well, for him it's a small bow, but for you it's a tree bowing to you. So, he gives you a large bow, and then start walking off.
I'll say thank you and have a safe trip to where you're going. Still kind of sketchy. I've been, this whole time that we've been talking and everything, I've just been kind of like on alert, like waiting for something else to attack.
All right. So,
Guess Toby will give Trevor
Yeah,
the cloth, and he'll spend 10 minutes trying to identify it, see if he gets anything out of it.
so for that, during that 10 minutes, does any one of you want to do something? Audience, Valtteri, Tobiashi, or you just wait impatiently?
I would
Is there anything I would do?
Yeah.
I would just
I would-
like to...
Eat
Oh,
something.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would keep a lookout.
All right, Tobiashi.
I'm gonna go back into the cave and I want to look through the goblins' bodies and I want to find a small shield.
Easy enough to do.
Okay, and I put it in my bag and I come back out.
I believe that all goblins have a shield, so it will not be hard to find one.
Well, there would still be some shields in the loot room.
Yeah, that's where I went. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, sure, yes. That's very easy to do.
Yeah. So, like, is it like a hand shield or like, yeah, just like a regular small shield for like a...
Well, for a goblin, it's a normal shield. For you,
Yeah.
it would probably be closer to a buckler.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. What I was looking for. And that's it. I don't equip it or anything. I put it in my bag.
All right.
At least.
Okay. What you gonna do with it? Throw it at someone like with the fruit?
Hey,
I
it's a little
have some
frisbee.
ideas with my new class.
All right. So, Trevor.
You just silk to it and do like Captain America, just choo, 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 choo.
Throw in the back.
Yeah. Okay. So, Trevor, you. So it's identify that you cast on this, right? All right.
Yeah, we already know it's magical, so no point in doing detect magic.
So you cast identify, and
You're back. I'm still listening.
it is extremely hard. The spell finishes, and it starts taking hold and trying to identify it. But again, just as you're about to say, "Oh, it's..." No. It's... you just can't... There's no shape that forms in your mind about what it's supposed to be. Every time you're about to say, it just slips out, and you can't... You find yourself unable to say anything. As if you'd forgotten just as you were about to say it. And the only thing that you're able to think is it's unshaped.
Alright. I might have to make an Arcana check for this, but out of character, I know containers like, a small lead box could keep the magic from emanating out of it. Could Trevor determine there'd be a way to contain this thing so it wouldn't affect us to maybe use later on as a
Well,
distract something.
well, actually, because of the identify that you just did and how confusing the result is, right now you would be even less sure than you were before that this can be contained in any way. It just
We should destroy it.
it's and each of you can see this because Trevor is so far has always been very open about what he identifies, and he would easily have this moment of, oh, it's and you can easily relate to this, as this is exactly how you felt when in your mind you were trying to say the shape that you can see on the cloth. It's
Oh, this is some strong stuff.
Yeah, I've seen enough. I'm now completely for we should destroy it here right now. And then
and,
go.
and Trevor, because of your identified magic, you can start feeling this vibe that audience has been describing of something foul behind this. Something that doesn't have good intentions.
Is he holding it?
Burn.
Well, he's identifying it, so he's it's
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
At
you have
least
to
took it
handle
and put it in
identify it.
front of him, and
Yeah.
so you can start feeling why audiences feel that evil feeling, and it's creeping up inside of you. It's not a sense evil like he is, but there is something foul emanating from it.
So what should we do, Trevor?
First, it's definitely bad. I do know there's ways to contain magical items like this. Well, I don't know if it would contain this per se, but small lead cases and stuff can keep the magic from emanating. I would need one to test it, so if we want to keep it to get back into town and maybe find a lead box to put it in to see if we might be able to contain it, use it as a distraction on enemies, but I'm good either way. It definitely has an evil vibe to it, so I don't really...
We probably shouldn't bring that back to town.
I definitely think we should destroy it here and now.
I was just thinking of a way to repurpose it, but yeah, I'm good either way.
You guys want to destroy it? I mean, I was just thinking that.
I was thinking, yeah, if we got to jump on a group, we could throw it out there with them. They would all be distracted wanting to
At
destroy
least
the
test it.
Well, it would
but we
also
saw it
distract
didn't
us
work on.
still.
Yeah, we saw it didn't work on the elemental. It might not work on them.
Elementals, but could work on everything else.
All right. So, how do we want to destroy this then?
Trevor will just lay it on the ground, I guess, and fire a few fire bolts at it, see if that does anything.
Yes, it
Since
does.
he's actually out of spells, so that's all he's got at the moment until we rest.
The cloth starts to burn as a normal cloth would. Doesn't seem to be offering any sort of magical resistance to what you're doing. It burns, starts to become black, and then you see holes forming in it. It burns as a cloth would, and as you see this cloth burning, you slowly start feeling this ease coming back into you. Almost satisfaction, but not quite. But you all feel this sudden ease coming back into you, and this feeling of, okay, things are going back to normal now.
Okay.
And after that, I guess Trevor said, "Did you guys find anything else back in the room of any use?"
I'll show him the cloth from my bag. I have this, and it's like just broken cloth.
So Tobiyashi shows you a bolt of cloth material, damaged from the negligence of the goblin.
I could try repairing it a little bit if you want later.
Yeah, maybe later. Right now, I'm kind of focused on getting back to the
Oh.
village.
Yeah, Trevor will say there's 4 more of these daggers back there in the main room that the orb was in. If you think we should get them.
I don't care. I don't care about daggers.
I have.
I already got 3, and Val has one of the 4 that we got.
Yeah, I have enough of them.
All right.
What'd you do with the orb breakings, or like the smashed orb?
The shards.
I have one small piece of it that I kept that had some of that black stuff on it or whatever that I was going to try and figure out. But the rest of it's just scattered about on the ground there around us from when I was identifying it when you came out.
Okay.
So if anybody else wants to pick up a piece, there's plenty of laying around.
No thanks.
And actually,
Oh, yeah,
audience,
I'll-
you use your divine sense outside.
Yes.
So you would have felt a very faint trace of lingering foulness from the broken pieces of glass on the ground. A very potent foulness, but just the last few fumes of this, if I can call it that.
Okay. I'm gonna just assume that I made the right decision to destroy it. It just confirms it for me. Kind of move past it.
So,
Yeah, I will.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take some of the. Can I just take some of the black stuff
well, you can take. It's part of the glass.
in my empty what is it drinking container, because I already used the rations of water. So
What you gonna do with them? Throw it at people?
You want to take a few.
You said it was part of the glass, so you'd have to take a shard of the glass like Trevor
well,
did.
the shard of the glass. Because I was thinking you could just like scrape off the black stuff.
Black.
Like I said, it feels like when this person was making this glass orb, it mixed a bit of pepper inside. It sort of had this sort of visual effect. Small black dot embedded inside the glass.
All right, yeah, I'll take some of it and then
All right.
wrap it up.
You can mark it up as a small glass shard with black polka dot inside.
I swear, if that dude starts talking to me again because you guys took the shards.
I don't think it would.
All right.
He's
So,
fine.
we're about to take the break. So, what else do you want to do?
I'm gonna go back to the tree and just head through
All
it.
right.
Yeah,
Definitely.
the tree and
Port back to the village or close as we can.
Yeah.
All right. Valtteri, do you also enter the tree?
Of course.
All right. So, you all enter the tree, and just as promised, you exit close to where you were starting to make a campfire the day before. You can see it. It is just over to your left. This remain of the start of a campfire. And you can see the village in front of you, about an hour of walk.
All right.
So, and you all make your way to the village?
Yeah.
All right.
yes,
So we're going to take...
as promptly as possible.
Yeah, no problem. Nothing waits for you as you make your way to the village, and you all easily find your way to the village, where you are greeted by the first few villager waking up, as you are still very early in the morning. So, we will be coming back in 10 minutes. See you all, and, well, I hope we'll have everyone when we get back. See you all in 10 minutes.
Yes.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
And welcome back, everyone. Alright, so... Now, you have all made your way back to the village very easily, without hindrance. And you can easily deduce from that the problem in the area has been mostly resolved. It already was fairly safe during the day, but now there is also the elemental who is unrestrained to watch over his own wood. So the goblins don't have anywhere to settle. You make your way back to the village, and as I've said, you arrive there maybe 9:30 in the morning. You're again very close to the mountain, and there are a good cloud cover above you, but there is a sense of ease in the air. Similar to just after a rain, but when you look around you, you don't see any rain. So it really is something that's coming from inside of you. Because of the cloud cover, it looks like a great day. But nothing special comes from it, aside from fatigue and a sense of having done something important for you personally. Mostly coming from destroying the cloth, and not everything else. So you get into town. Some people are very happy to see you back. And of course, as soon as you meet someone that is a little bit more outspoken, you are asked, how did it go? Is everything settled? Are we still going to have to move?
I will tell them that we have solved the goblin problem. The goblins have been destroyed, as well as any other evil lurking there, and that you may remain safe now in your village.
Oh, that's incredible news. Let me get everyone into the inn. You can tell everyone at the same time. And I'll try and convince the inn owner to let you sleep there for free today. Oh, this is such a good news. And you see this person just running toward this small village center, going directly for the biggest house.
You see audience kind of like warming up his vocals to tell a gallivanting tale. With him definitely shown as the main hero in it.
I start heading to the inn so I can rest.
So, Tobiyashi keeps going toward the inn, dragging his feet, looking beaten, both physically and mentally. Trevor, well, you used all of your spells, so you're not wounded, but you do feel this sort of arcane fatigue inside of you.
Yeah.
Valtteri, you're mostly good.
Before I follow them to the inn, I also say to the audience, and don't forget to mention that the tree element is still a good creature and tries to protect them still.
Okay.
Because they thought that he was one of the evil things.
I feel great. I didn't take a point of damage that entire time.
Me, I only took damage as a wolf, so I'm also...
Trevor didn't take any either, so yeah.
I feel alive. I feel full of vigor.
Toby was the tank for this one.
Yeah.
I don't know if tank's the right word. It's more of a sacrifice.
Yeah.
Sacrifice. I mean, I took a lot of them down. Well, yeah.
Well, in this case, I would feel that the term meat shield has really earned its place.
Yeah. Pretty, yeah.
I guess on the way to the inn or whatever, just quickly, Trevor walked up to Toby as we walked in, just say, how do you keep your mind so calm to pick up on all this shit going around? My mind's always got dozens of things going on. I find it hard to focus unless I really, am focused on something specific. How do you manage that? Is that some of your monk stuff, or what?
Well, lots of years of practice of thinking of nothing, and have
Well, it's almost impossible for me to think of nothing. So I was wondering if you might be able to help me with that a little bit. It might even help me with my investigations of things or something, So maybe just work on it a little bit at a time when we have some downtime. Just a thought there, because my brain works too fast, and if you've seen, words come out before I have a chance to check them sometimes. So
Yeah,
the brain tends to spit the words out a little too fast than need be at times.
yeah, I could help you out with that. Some meditation and practice would really help you out with most of your problems.
I think it might need a little more than that, but it's a start.
At most.
Tobiashi, you can't help but have this small feeling of reversal of role, because you most likely went through the same thing as you started to travel with your master. Him being unnervingly calm and impossible to even annoy.
Yeah, and we'll continue walking to the...
I'll just
All right.
continue.
So you get to the inn before everyone, but it takes maybe 5 or 10 minutes before people start gathering in and just getting themselves ready for the good news. And they already know the good news, of course, because it's easy to see that the guy wasn't able to shut up about it. So, but they all get inside, and there's this little bit of excitement, and they're all looking at you. They notice immediately that Tobiashi seems to be dragging his knuckle on the ground. Trevor seems to be slightly tired. Valtteri mostly annoyed, and audience
Kind of
very ready to
like...
tell the tale of the fight in the Torounai Woods.
Flexing. Showing off them pecs.
Them guns.
So, do you wait for everyone to sit down?
I do.
All right.
Someone else can jump the gun on me.
So as you see audience preparing himself to tell the tale of your adventures in the way that only a charismatic paladin can. Do you do anything else while everyone is gathering? I think we lost Tobiashi. He's frozen in
Yeah, he's a little froze, yep.
It's a good face he has, though, on
Yeah.
mine. It's one of his druids. It's like
Went
good
out with
smile.
a smile. Yeah, he went out with a smile.
And he's gone.
Alright, so Tobiashi probably just sat down inside the inn and started to cope.
Just found a corner to himself, I'm sure, probably.
Poor Tobiashi, he's gonna start sucking his thumb very soon. Alright, so Valtteri and Trevor, do you do anything while this is happening?
Just kind of watching her to see what she does first.
So, Valtteri, you have...
I'm just kind of not obviously, but just kind of standing around, just looking around, but just keeping an eye on her to see where she goes first. Oh, there he's back.
You were frozen with an odd grin for about 1 minute.
That's always good.
Probably getting something to eat.
Alright.
And water.
Yeah, sure. And actually, you have create water, I believe, in your spells.
Yeah.
You could
do.
You could create your own water.
I know. I'll just ask for a mug or something and do that.
First time casting the spell, I'm gonna create water. Too much water.
The whole floor, yeah. Hope you guys got a mop close by.
I'm sure audience will be able to integrate this within his story. So, so you get a mug of nice, cool water. Whether you cast it or not, they're not gonna make you pay for water. So, So you sit down. Do you ask for something to eat also?
Yes.
So basically, you're asking for a meal. So I'd say
Yes.
probably the cheapest meal, or do you want something fancy to celebrate while your bard is giving
Flash
the story?
Slash priest.
I don't have that much money like our pal audience has here, so.
Yeah, see if he's going to want to share it with everybody later on.
Unless he's gonna pay me for food, I'm gonna take the cheapest one.
Oh, audience probably has already forgotten about the money.
Yeah.
Probably just like, oh, picked up some money.
Well, you can always go to the inn owner and try and convince him to include a meal inside this free night, but
Yeah, but I'm not really a charismatic person.
so you can always ask. The poorest of meal is 3 copper.
Okay, I can pay that.
You see, audience just kind of assumes that after he tells this tale, people will probably just buy him food and drinks.
Well, actually, with your background feature, yes, they will. Remember,
I'm already ordered.
your background is a folk hero.
Yeah. I am now in real life, too.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna pay
That's
for
my
my
accent.
food.
Yeah, I'll pay for mine too.
All right. So for those who wants to pay for their own food, it's 3 copper. For audience,
Yes.
you're gonna get a free meal. I guarantee it. It's part of the perks of your
Feature of
class.
I'll
Okay.
take my food and... Wait, did the person now convince the inn owner that we get a free room?
Yes.
Then I'll ask them where my room is and probably go upstairs.
She's not even gonna listen to the story.
No.
She takes.
I asked him to also include the stuff I want to be included, which is that the tree elemental is a good creature still, and
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
he
all.
already said he would. All right. So, Tobiyashi, you do the same. You pay and you go up.
Yeah.
All right.
I need to rest
All right.
and eat and
I'll do
meditate.
the same and kind of trying to keep an eye on which room Val went in as he goes to his as well.
All right.
Oh, also,
totally not creepy.
No, he's keeping his distance. He's not, trying to do it obviously. Just,
Stop.
I'll also ask Trevor if he would like to meditate with me.
Yeah, sure, a little bit. Well, yeah, sure. We'll go ahead and try a little bit of that now. Sure, why not?
All right. So you all leave. Trevor, you go meditating. Valtteri, you go ponder on whatever you can with your food. And audience is left alone in the inn to tell the tale of what happened in the Torounai Woods.
Nobody in the
Audience,
Yeah.
I am not gonna force you to tell the story live, but I'm not gonna prevent you either if you want to.
No, I'm just gonna. I will give kind of an overview of what I say. I'm not gonna go through like the whole thing live.
All right.
Since I think everyone kind of knows what happened. And we
All right.
So I basically describe us hunting down the goblin lair, and I tell of the elemental in kind of this dramatic fashion of meeting the elemental and finding out like that he was like a kind and benevolent. And then I speak of the prince of I basically call it like the prince of the acorn, which is what we were trying to go rescue. Like it was some like almost damsel in distress, but it's a prince of acorns. And then I will continue and speak of our great battle within the hill versus the dark force that rose up, the goblins from the dead, and we struck it down. And then explain how we saved the nut. And basically that's where I'll end my story, is basically us, I won't mention the orb or some of the more details, but I'll basically talk about the dark force of the goblin rising up from the blood of the altar, and then how we struck it down, and that kind of being the evil that we destroyed for the common people.
All right. I'll have you make a performance roll.
All right. That will be +2 because I get +2 to charisma. That will be a 13.
13. All right. Well, you tell the story, and there are a few moments where you notice that your audience sort of feel a bit confused about what you're saying, but most of it they really get it, and you feel them they're a bit excited by this. It's not often that they get someone giving them free show like this. So there's this playfulness that they have, and your story is good. You realize that there are a few moments where when you think about it after, I should have said it like that. They would have reacted better. But all in all, it was a good show. They enjoyed it. They all thanked you. You were offered a few rounds of drink, a free meal, the most expensive that they could actually get for you, because several peasants pulled themselves and bought you this feast for you, and you noticed that some of them were actually looking and wondering if you were going to share. They just didn't say it out loud. And that's about your evening.
All right, it's a good party. Then I'll go to bed, I guess. After that, go up to my room.
All right.
Stay up late into the night drinking with the village people, and then go and
All right.
head to our room.
Trevor, I think you're muted.
I say he's drinking with the village people, so they all start singing YMCA.
I thought about the same thing. All right, so throughout the day and most of the evening, you hear merriment in the first floor of the inn as audience tells his story and peasants ask for encore, because they just want to hear this part again and this part again. And you are surprised to see that he actually did talk about everything you did. You know, he didn't exclude anyone, but he might have exaggerated a bit with the adjective that he used when describing his valor, but everyone was there.
Wait, did you also mention my transforming or no?
I did not. I actually
good.
just mentioned that. Yeah, I did not.
Mentioned that your dog took care of everything there, you know?
I just mentioned that we assaulted the cave and I did not mention that we were.
Just generalized everything, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, we entered the cave when we saw the evil in front of us. We all jumped at them, weapons at the ready. Our wizard with spells already casting. Sorry, this sort of thing, probably.
Yeah.
So,
Few hours.
you get, well, if you let it go on as far as it can, you're gonna spend the whole day there. So, do you want to do anything during that day while you're recovering?
I would like to do my religion roll.
Oh, I haven't rested yet, so.
Because I've been resting now, so...
So you're basically gonna straight up go to bed
Yes!
at 10 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Yes!
So
Well, can I? Since I'm all beat up.
yeah, of course you can. It's like recovering from a very hard day of whatever you were doing. You know, you can sleep most of the day, have a few good hours at the end of the day, and then go back to sleep. And of course, when you wake up the next morning, you are ready to go. You feel rested, and yeah, sure, there's no problem with that.
Yeah, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna eat Trevor.
I'd say, yeah, we'll meditate for an hour or two or something, and then we'll take our rests or whatever.
Right. So you all take a rest. Yes, Valtteri, you will be able to make a religion roll when you wake up. Keep the number in your head. I was going to go to Tobiyashi.
Yeah.
I wrote it down.
All right. Tobiyashi, as you are going to sleep, you find your sleep very, You find sleep very easily as you are beaten down by your day and still slightly in shock from seeing death from that close. So you fall asleep very easily and you find your mind drifting inside a dream. It's a memory that you have that you're mostly sure it comes from your childhood, but you've never been able to put any context around it. But you remember seeing these pink petals falling around you, and this person around you talking very softly, and you remember being inside blankets of a light pink. And it's always a memory that you come back to. It helps you just become calm again. But this time there's this small thing that starts troubling you. Is in your dream you start finding yourself choking a bit, and you sort of realize that this cloth that you're surrounded with is surrounding you, and it's choking you a bit. And you wake up and you find yourself wrapped in pink cloth. From the way that it is wrapped, it feels like you were someone probably put that cloth on you, and by tossing and turning you were starting to wrap yourself in it and slowly choke yourself. So you have this reflex of and you pull it apart, but it just pulls very easily, and you see it disappear in a pink mist, and it hits you. You've just managed to summon it for the first time. But pink?
Yeah.
And you remember from the teaching of your master that, I can play with the density of that thing. I hope. So you have just gained the capability of your monk monastic tradition to summon your cloth.
Okay. Yes. That's perfect. Alright. Okay.
So,
alright.
You wake up slightly distressed by this, but slowly you start calming again, and you realize that it's fairly easy to do also. And you sort of yell, this is... I wonder why I didn't see it before, but it's actually very easy to do.
Alright. I'll say, I'm gonna start, trying to change it to a little bit of a darker color.
Alright. Just how dark? Pitch black or black with a faint pink hue on it?
Yeah, I'll say that I can't control it all the way. I'll do it like that.
Alright.
So I can't get all the way black.
So it looks black. But of course, even as you are the master of this cloth and you are used to this, you're pretty sure that someone would have to be very perceptive to see that there is small faint traces of pink inside this cloth. But you know that some would be able to discern it, but it would be hard.
Okay. I'll say, that should be good enough, and I'll start getting ready to go out of the room.
All right.
With cloth all over my body.
Well, it's exactly as described in the class that I showed you. You can summon it right now. If you don't want any around you, it's just gone. Like I said, you can summon it from anywhere on your body.
Yeah, I'll have it wrapped around me like my robes.
All right. So you have a length of cloth. Don't forget to keep it in mind when you're calculating just how long you can actually summon, because if you keep some around, that quantity is subtracted from your total of cloth that you can summon.
All right. So I can do 30 feet, right?
At level 3, yes.
So I would say like 10 around one arm, 10 around the other arm, and then 10 like around my chest area.
All right. So
and that'd be it.
All right. So you wake up. You've had your long rest, so there is no problem. So if it's getting close to supper time. You can hear that audience is still talking a bit. The party has died down a bit, but still there's still a lot of talking, and you can hear a little bit of celebration. And the audience, you are probably starting to be a little bit tipsy, but you're having a lot of fun. And you probably, well, actually, if you want, try and slip in a few words for your godly master. You could always, I would say, again, make a performance check if you want to. Or do you want to leave this just...
I would probably slip in how, like, in my story, I would probably start slipping in how, like, you know, it was like the might of the dragons while I thought that it helped, like, protect me and stuff like that. But wouldn't describe the actual, like, so
Okay.
Put that idea in there.
Okay.
But wouldn't.
All right. So I'm gonna have you make a performance roll, a separate performance roll for that, just to see how, you know, are you trying to tickle the imagination of some people with this?
Okay. That's a 17.
That's pretty good. Yeah, you actually managed to seduce a few peasants to the idea of how powerful the dragon gods are.
Good.
So of course, these few people just stay closer to you all evening. They seem to keep an interest in you for longer than the others. For a lot of people, it's just celebration. It's, you know, we don't have to move. Yay! So, Valtteri and Trevor, you wake up 8 hours later. You hear the same thing that Tobiyashi, that there's still a bit of a party going on downstairs. And you recognize the voice of audience every so often saying again something about the dragons and the adventure. So, Valtteri, I believe you made a roll that you want to have the answer to that.
I rolled an 18 and I have a +3 on religion, so it's a 21.
That is a very good roll. All right. So, exactly what was it that you wanted to learn?
If the dude who talked to me is part of the cult, or maybe even that cult leader, the hunter they were talking about.
All right. So,
I'm sorry, I just hear crunch, much, and it makes me hungry.
Oh, me too, but I have something waiting for me for after, so I'm not worried about that. So, with that, all right, so you think about everything that happened, and with what your father told you, you do remember that, it's... Okay, you're pretty sure it's the same cult that your father was talking about. I can't help it. I'm looking at what Valtteri's reaction to this.
I just see him like smirking and like, yeah, I have food.
And Val just watching in anticipation. They're just waiting for the next bite, you know.
Well,
Well, this is my last bite, so we're done.
Satisfying.
it fits with what you're hearing downstairs. You know, you're hearing people laugh, you're hearing people talk.
I don't think I hear people like eating so loud as if they were eating it right next to me.
So, with the roll that you make, you do make the association of, all right, so this is most likely the god that your father was talking about. And from what you remember, it is a god which lost its balance. You don't remember specific, like which war was it, but you remember that it's related to a conflict that happened with between gods, and this druidic god was captured, but his captor was killed without revealing where he was, so he was forgotten in his prison, and he spent so long in that prison that he basically went mad, and he lost his balance toward the side of the moon that is always new, and that sort of hits you with, oh, this is probably also one of the reasons why he was able to contact me, because you were in the new moon form, and
Yes.
you had emotionally lost your balance also, which was also a factor that greatly helped him. And it does feel like, if not the god itself, it most likely was one of his high priests that contacted you, because it was able to exert an influence and read through the orb your own state of mind. That requires a lot of power. So either a very high priest or some part of the god itself.
So I can say that he is kind of the god the cult of the hunters worshipping.
Either the god or one of its high priests.
Okay.
You're pretty sure about that.
So that's why they have a wolf on their logo. Or whatever they had.
Yeah.
Like, because they
The
have
wolf
like
head.
a wolf's head.
And the reason why they all say it is the hunter god, it was because before it lost its balance, it was known as the predator god. It was usually invoked when going to hunt, because it was supposed to be an extremely efficient hunter. It didn't kill needlessly. It always was...
What it needed.
Yeah. But now that it lost its balance, it is hard to say what sort of predator he will be.
Okay. One who is killing for sport or still
Maybe.
for...
Or out of pure rage. You don't know just how mad he went.
Well then.
So yeah, that's what you would get.
Okay. After that I would go down again to see what the fuck is going on downstairs.
Alright.
Would Trevor catch her on the way out? Did we wake up at like roughly the same time, or?
Toby actually left me a message because he's having problem with his computer.
I mean, you went meditating and I went right back to bed, so I guess there's...
So
Or earlier than we did, so.
yeah. So Trevor, what did you ask?
Oh, I'm just gonna say if I caught Val on the way out, since we both slept the same amount, but yeah, she just made a point that me and Toby meditated for a little bit to work on my stuff there. So.
There would be a little bit of
a gap.
a gap. Yeah. She would get up before you.
Yeah.
So most likely when you wake up, you probably cross the path of Tobiyashi, who looks a little bit distracted. And
Yeah.
you notice that he has new wrappings around his hand, and he seems to be very distracted by that. Enough that it sort of feels that if you were to talk to him, you wouldn't answer.
So I noticed a slight pink tint to it.
No.
No.
You could also, well, since it's new, I would allow to make you a perception roll.
It's probably gonna be bad.
Roll
anyway.
very high.
No, it's not. I rolled a
All
4,
right.
so whatever
So,
my bonus was, is not enough.
From your point of view, it seems like he found new black wrappings to put around his arms.
I'm like, is that cloth that you found? And, yeah.
He is very absorbed by this new cloth, and he just keeps walking and seems to have a little sense of satisfaction and just doesn't notice you talking.
Yeah, I guess that focus works a little bit too good sometimes. And head on downstairs
All right, so you get
and look for Val when he gets down there.
well. So Valtteri, there is about maybe 50 minutes before Trevor goes down the room. You meet a lot of people very happy. You meet audience who seems to have probably drink a little bit more than usual, but he's still very functional. And, he's audience. He's usually very cheerful, so drinking for him doesn't make him say mean stuff. It just makes him more cheerful.
Okay.
Probably talks more about dragons also, the drunker he gets.
Because he's the only one in the group downstairs I try to tell him that I'll be outside meditating and be back like in 10-15 minutes.
I'll kind of give a nod, like, okay.
And I go outside and meditate and change my spells and look at
Right.
my new spells.
All right. So you go outside and you start your quiet contemplation of your powers, and you sort of realize that, there's more than there was before. And the new possibility fills your mind, and you have these new words for prayers and mantra coming into your head, and oh, right. So, Trevor, you go down the stair.
Mhm.
You don't see Valtteri anywhere. You see audience having a great time. And you notice that it's probably the end of a party. As it's
Alright.
probably close to 7 o'clock, so it's starting to be dark outside. Some people are trying to make their way back home. Some not very successfully because there was a bit of alcohol.
Walk up the audience and say, you know where Val is?
She said something about going outside meditating. Kind of.
Alright. Okay. That's good enough. And he'll just step outside and just sit down on a bench, like right outside the door there. He won't go looking for her, but he knows she'll be back at some point.
Oh, eventually, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So, Valtteri, eventually you finish your prayers.
Yes.
And you are infused with the new energies of this increase in power. So, what do you do when you finish?
Let me think. Should I go a little bit through town?
You feel a slight sensation of pride aimed toward you,
Okay.
creeping up in the back of your mind.
Mm-hmm.
One that you identify as not being from you.
Let me. I'll look around and try to see where this feeling of pride comes from.
Comes from your friend that you haven't talked about for a while.
Oh, god damn it.
We're actually going to bring that up when he's seen her next time.
I take. I think I still have some cherries left. Let me look. I do. Nice. Okay.
I could barely hear you, Trevor. Your volume
out.
keep cutting and cutting and cutting.
I take out some of the cherries I still got, about 3, and put them in my hand in front of me and wait for her to come to me.
You wait for a long while. Doesn't come to get them in your hand. But you do notice that bits of grass around you are moving, seemingly without nothing touching them. It's not an overwhelming sense of pride. It's sort of just a small pride, as in, I recognize that you did something good. And I agree with that. But I'm not over the rest.
I put one of the cherries on the ground in front of me and watch.
It takes a minute, but you see the cherry lift and go away.
I don't know if I should try talking to her. Yeah, you know what, I will try.
Right.
So as I see like the cherries getting lifted up and not that it will be too far away from me, but like in the reaction of it being lifted up, and then I will talk and like, hi Arena, I know I haven't talked to you now for a little while, and I wanted to know how you're doing.
You get a okay feeling. You know, not overwhelmingly good, but not a bad one.
Are you still mad about me?
You get a faint trace of resentment, but it's very faint.
You're muted, Mike.
No, I wasn't talking loud enough. I just said almost there.
Do you want to come back with me?
Oh goodness, what sort of feeling could be associated with that response? You get a feeling of patient contemplation.
I have to Google that.
She's thinking about it.
Okay. I didn't know for a second what contemplation meant. You can take your time. I just want that you still be nearby, so I know that you aren't in any trouble or pain or anything.
You get a sense of satisfaction that you've come to know when she is biting down on a cherry.
Okay, I'll leave the 2 cherries at the same place, and if you want to come with me, that's okay, and we will probably leave today or tomorrow to let you know.
You, when you put the cherry down, you felt gratefulness. When you invited her to follow, you get a feeling of approbation.
I don't know what that means.
Yes.
Translation. How do you
Yes, she will follow.
Oh, okay. Okay. Is she going back on my shoulders like she used to, or
No,
just
she's
walking?
she's taking the cherries and going back behind a bush.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine with me. I'll leave her be then.
All right. So, Trevor, you will have to wait maybe half an hour outside of the inn before you see Valtteri slowly dragging her feet as she makes her way back to the inn. You're muted.
You're muted.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I think that your microphone is... I think it's having sensitivity problem because it doesn't pick the sound unless you go above a certain level.
Yeah, not bad. Is that any better?
Yeah, can you hear?
Or how about now?
I couldn't hear the first syllable, but the rest, yes. New microphones, it's always frustrating, I know.
About that?
Yeah, that was good.
Okay. Just as she's walking up, I guess, since she's dragging her feet, she'll be like, everything okay?
I'm not dragging my feet.
Well, not dragging, but she's not running toward you, you know, she's...
Just walking.
Yeah, okay. Alright. But you got a minute? Sit down for a second?
Like you see a little bit of... like I'm a little bit torn if I should say yes or no, but I'll just nod then and just listen to what you have to say.
You don't want to sit next to me. You can sit. I'll stand. I don't care.
I was just meditating, so I've been sitting for a long time.
Obviously, something talked to you. Did you figure out what it was from that orb?
I mean, why do you want to know that badly? And we don't hear you again.
Ah! Fuck! Out now!
Yeah.
Yes.
Just gotta yell in the damn thing. I don't know what's going on with it here. I don't have to mess with it in between streams, but anyway, it's like just curious, you know. I mean, obviously the thing's connected to this freaking, you know, cult, so that's what I was trying not to destroy the orb at first for, to try and gather to see if we could get any information from it. You know, it's probably the strongest thing that we've had to gain an edge on this cult, and it got destroyed without a second thought. But you know,
trust me, it was a good decision that we destroyed it.
So it did speak to you. I don't know. You could have tried a little interrogation. Did you even try speaking back to it?
I will not speak with a creature that is trying to mess with my mind and bring me to an evil being. So no thanks. And yes, it was probably either a priest or the god itself that the cult of the hunter are praying to.
Okay. Like I said, I did gather that it was at least a communication device before the magic faded from it, so I knew it communicated with somebody, and when you didn't answer, the game.
And you're getting silent again. Like you heard, like it's loud, saying it's going down here.
Way up to frickin' 10, see what happens here. I'm on 9 already. Is that better? I mean, shit, I got the damn...
Yeah, it might be the gain that is too low. It's not picking far enough.
Well, I keep turning it up, so
Okay.
How about now?
Yeah, for now it's good.
Okay, for now. Right. He's like, yeah, I'm just trying to learn as much as I could about it to try and maybe gain an edge over these guys, because it looks like they're going to be a continued pain in our ass, so, yeah.
Believe me, you don't want to deal with that god.
Seems like they're more your thing anyway, so I'll take your word for it. Leave it
Do
at
you
that.
need anything else, or can I go now back inside? And you're
You
gone
just
again.
got. We heard no, and then the sound just.
Like it sucked it up.
Yeah.
You're like, no, that's it for now. Yeah, if you don't want to stay and talk, it's fine. No, I'm good. That was my big question.
I'll go back inside then.
And I'm just like,
And you're gone again, if you said so.
Alright. Well, the stream is almost over for today, so it's not too bad.
so he'll just hang outside by himself for a little while after the fact.
Alright. So, Valtteri, you go back inside and you see audience. The night is almost over. There's only a few people left inside the inn. Audience, at one point, do you go to bed or do you keep...
Yes, I will go to bed once it gets like pretty late out.
Okay, alright. Trevor, how long do you stay outside?
Maybe a half hour or so, but he will go back inside and, what time is it now? After that half hour?
After that half hour, we're starting to reach the probably 9 o'clock. So it's dark now outside.
Yeah. So the church or whatever that I went to before for incense and all that.
Right now it's closed, yes. That would...
He'll just go back inside at that point then.
Well, you could probably go inside and pray if you wanted, but no one's going to be there to sell you what you need.
Yeah, gotcha.
So you go back inside and you catch the last few moments of audience telling his tale again and slipping in a few words about the dragons. And Valtteri has already gone up, so what do you do?
Just probably hang around at the bar for a little bit. Maybe check, see if they have another bottle of this fine wine that he's almost drank the full bottle of. And
That was another town, another village.
Oh, well, that's right. Yeah, that was the previous one. Okay. Just, he's not going to ask for any wine or anything. He'll just hang out for a little bit and just go back and take another nap in the morning.
All right, so, audience, you eventually go to your bed, to your room, happy about the day. You made a few new followers. You told the story of how well you made this battle, and it was heroic. You're pretty sure you could have told a few parts better, but that's pretty good. So you eventually go to bed, and then fall asleep. During the night, you have a dream, and in that dream you find yourself alone for the beginning of it. You're walking in what looks like a plain, similar to where you were born. So it's not, there isn't a heavy vegetation. It's a lot of dirt and brownish colors for the ground and also the rock. And then you hear a familiar voice inside your head, which resonates all around you, and it is your Lord talking to you. You see the shape of this large green dragon making its way to you, then landing, walking around you, then turning toward you, looking at you directly in your eyes. And you hear him say, with a voice that feels a little bit more distant than you're used to, but otherwise it is as you remember it. You hear him say, "You are doing very good, my champion. I can hear the praise of those you have enlightened. I have also heard about your recent achievements. They're impressive. You are a very good champion to me. But when I listen, I often hear those that you have enlightened leave. They do not stay long. Maybe if I grant you something more, you would be able to impress them in a way that you cannot now. How would you like this?"
I'm sorry for my failures. If you could grant me anything that would help me, such a lesser creature, achieve your goals, that would be the best for me.
Well, then yes, there is something I can do. The first being, you should not sell yourself so short. Such a fine champion. If you always believe yourself to be so low and so unworthy of more, your followers will feel it. You have to show them just how great you have become, how great you are, and they will see how great we are through your actions. And so I will grant you these new powers, and I will let you make this choice for yourself. And he just skips a bit to the side, and when his wings go up, you notice 6 tablets of stone behind him. One of them is made of a sturdy material, probably marble, engraved with the word devotion at the top, and you see 5 words written under it. The one beside it is covered with vines and made from a more simple rock. There is the word ancient written on it, and you also see 4 words written under them. The third one is a rock with a very black color, and there is sort of something aggressive about the shape that it has, sort of a bit like horns, and you see the depiction of someone with a sword watching a creature trying to retreat from it. And you see this small wound at the side of the person holding the sword. You see the word vengeance on it. And there are 4 other words written below it. The fourth one, you see a stone slab with metal pieces on it. It looks very sturdy, and there is the depiction of a kingdom with a flag not of his own over it. You see the word conquest on it, and 3 other words are written under it. The next one is one with softer colors, a bit white. You're not sure which material it is, but it is softly carved, and you see a person kneeling carved on it. There is the word redemption written on it, and 4 other words under it. The last one is made of a sturdy stone, and there is the sort of very regal carving on the sides, and it goes to the top of the stone, where it seems to curve in the way that it's engraved, and it makes the shape of a crown. And under there is the word crown, and 4 words written under it. He points toward the 6th slab and say, choose one and recite the oath bound to it.
All right. I'll spend a moment kind of glancing over each one, kind of feeling if one calls more to me. And finally I will go to the 6th and I will say this one I feel calls the most to me. And I will take it and I will recite the 4 words under it, which are law. The law is paramount. It is the mortar that holds the stones of civilization together, and it must be respected. Loyalty. Your word is your bond. Without loyalty, oaths and laws are meaningless. Courage. You must be willing to do what needs to be done for the sake of order, even in the face of overwhelming odds. If you don't act, then who will? And responsibility. You must deal with the consequences of your actions, and you are responsible for fulfilling your duties and obligations.
Your word echoes throughout your dreams as if you were inside of a cave, and just as you finish saying the last word, you hear your lord saying, "That is very interesting, and I am proud of you, my champion. Now go and keep your word." And you wake up just... and you feel this surge of power going through you. And this is where the stream ends for today.
Alright.
Alright, well... now everyone is officially level 3. Sorry for all, again, the problem that we've had with the stream, with our monk. I got a message saying that his computer just died, and with our wizard having so many microphone problems.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
New microphones, it happens. New room, new microphone, new setup.
The fun fact is, when we started, I was the one with the microphone problems, and audience was the one who sometimes was just gone.
Yeah, well, right now seems.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. It comes and goes.
It's a little fuzzy, but yeah.
All right. Or
All right, everyone. So, thank you all for watching. It was a pleasure having you with us. And don't forget, if you like the show, support us in whatever way you can. Following, money, or just sharing the word. Just spreading the word that we exist will do a lot. So, see you all again next Wednesday. And, well, have a good week. Bye.
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 See you guys.